Televangelist Timothy Omotoso and his co-accused Lusanda, Sulani and Zikiswa, Sitho have been found not guilty on all charges against them. Omotoso was arrested at the Chief Dawid Stuurman airport 8 years ago and was acquitted on all 32 charges against him, including rape, human trafficking and racketeering. He's been in custody since his arrest. While sitting judge Irma Schoeman conceded that she could not conclude that the evidence given by the complainants were untrue, the state failed to prove Omotoso's guilt beyond reasonable doubt.
Mr. Ntelwa was the prosecutor who indicated that witnesses should be influenced to stick to their police statement. The case can be distinguished from the Nduna matter, where there were 2 robberies months apart with a similar modus operandi. The similar fact evidence cannot be taken into account in the instant matter in the light of the fair trial principle. The primary factor, unfortunately, is the lack of cross-examination of the accused. As indicated earlier, if there's no cross-examination on issues in dispute, it would be unfair to reject an accused's evidence if he or she has not had the opportunity to explain such issue. As the cross-examination of the accused was of such poor quality, it had the effect that the accused's evidence was not placed in dispute at all, and therefore it did not necessitate the calling of corroborative witnesses, if any, who might have bolstered their defense. A further factor that I have to take into account is the conduct of Mr. Ntelwa and the irregularities that his conduct precipitated. If he had been removed at the time the prosecuting authority intended to remove him, the outcome might have been different. Furthermore, I'm of the view that it is highly undesirable that the complainant can dictate who should prosecute in a trial, especially where a decision has been made to remove a prosecutor. I'm of the view that although there are aspects of the complainant's evidence that are unsatisfactory, I cannot find that their evidence is incredible. However, I cannot find that the evidence of the accused falls to be rejected as false either. This is especially so as the accused evidence was not placed in dispute through proper cross-examination. When deciding whether the state has proved its case beyond reasonable doubt, this matter falls into the category where, in my view, the explanations of the accused are improbable, and I don't subjectively believe them. However, due to the uncertainty of the actions of the state and the lack of proper cross-examination, I cannot find that the accused's version are so improbable that they cannot reasonably possibly be true. The accused bore no onus to convince the court of their innocence. I am of the view, in the light of all the circumstances of the case, that the state has not proved its case beyond reasonable doubt.
Yes. Quiet, please.
The accused are found not guilty and are discharged on all the charges.
Well, reacting to the ruling, Omotoso says all he wants to do is rest after being in prison.
I think it's better for me to rest first. I've been in prison for 8 years at this age, so I think we should give some time for that.
Pastor, sorry, what's the first thing you want to do when you get out of prison after 8 years?
Only God can tell me. When it is time, God will speak to me.
Well, let's take a look now at the timeline of the Omotoso trial. On the 20th of April 2017, the Hawks arrested Omotoso at a Port Elizabeth airport. At the time, he was Dominion International JDI leader. Before his arrest, he was well known in the South African Pentecostal circles and regarded as a role model by his congregation. On the 9th of March 2020, Eastern Cape High Court announces that Ntelwa is not available. And then on the 21st of August 2024, the Eastern Cape High Court in Gqeberha dismissed the application by Omotoso and his co-accused. On the 3rd of May 2017, former Idols hopefuls Nelisiwa and Anele Mxakaka published what they said was in response to him being arrested and said they were supportive of him. Then we move on to 11th of December 2018. And of course, in January following that, Omotoso's case was postponed again due to a third accused not present. On the 9th of March 2018, Omotoso loses his bid to have the case withdrawn. His lawyer, Advocate Chief Dawid, told the Port Elizabeth Magistrates Court about the rejection. Moving further forward, 23rd of March 2018, PE woman accused of trafficking girls for Pastor Omotoso granted bail. Nobubehle Mlindi handed herself over to the Hawks human trafficking team in Port Elizabeth. She faces charges of trafficking in persons and exploitation for sexual purposes. Then going forward to 2024, the court agrees to have 3 entries from defence added. And on the 21st of August 2024, Eastern Cape High Court in Gqeberha dismisses application by Omotoso and his co-accused. On the 25th of January this year, Omotoso trial resumed at the Gqeberha High Court. And then, of course, 2nd of April, that's today, the televangelist Timothy Omotoso found not guilty by the High Court on all charges.